Okay, I wanted to record this video on getting an equation of line. Here we go. This one says Geppetto is a puppet maker. On the 8th day of the month, Geppetto had 106 puppets ready to sell. On the 10th day, he had 132 puppets. And it says, what is his rate? Well, his rate is his slope. And I'll show you how you can do this problem on a calculator first here on this. So first of all, you have to set up the points. And you always want to, if you have anything to do with time, like days or months, years, minutes, whatever, that's always going to be an x value of a coordinate. And the other value that they're talking about on the problem is going to be the y value. So for this one, since we're dealing with a time measurement like months, that's going to be an x value. And the number of puppets made is going to be my y values. So this bit here about the 8th day, he has 106 puppets. That's this coordinate, 8, 106. And the 10th day, he has 132. Well, that's 10, 132. So I'll do this by hand in a second, but let's go ahead and go to the stats menu. So if I hit menu and then go to stats, either arrow over or hit the number 2. So I'll hit 2 to get to stats. And then now you put in your points right here. So the x's go into list 1, so my first x value is 8, and then hit execute. The next one is 10, and then go over and type in your y values. Well, the y value associated with 8 is 106, and the y value associated with 10 is 132. And now, once you have those in there, then click right here about 3 times, graph 1, calculate, and then one last thing right here, you have to click the x. Think of this x as being like y equals mx plus b. This tells you that you're dealing with a linear equation. It tells the calculator that's what you want. When you click it, you get the y-intercept, which is the b, and you also get the slope, which is a. Typically we use m for the slope, but they just use a and b. And they give you the format here, like we would have y equals mx plus b, they have y equals ax plus b. So they're using a for the slope. So the equation that they get is y equals 13x plus 2. So you just put the 13 and the 2 right in there for a and b, and you have that equation. And you can see I get that when I do this by hand also right here, y equals 13x plus 2. So you could write that down or whatever, that's your equation, and then you can answer anything you want about it. So his rate is 13 puppets per day. How many does he make? Has he made after 5 days? Well, 5 days at 13 puppets per day, just take 5 times 13 and you get 65. So the last one though is pretty rough. This one says how many puppets are ready to sell on the 15th day. You might think just take 15 times the 13, but it's not that, because on this, he already has some ready before the first day. So it's like an initial amount, and that's that b right there. So if you think about this equation down here that you have y equals 13x plus 2, the x stands for the number of, I guess, days that have gone by, and then y stands for the number of puppets that they made. So on the 15th day, you would just put 15 in there for x and work it out. So we would do 13 times 15 plus 2, and if you do that, you get 197. So that's how you do that problem. There may even be a way that you could, copy this equation. See, if I copy it, I think it hit execute. It actually puts it into the graph menu or table menu. So I think it's in both the graph and table. And if I go to the table menu, you can see there it is. Now the one thing that is going on here is the equal sign isn't highlighted, so I can select it and then table it. And then at this point I could just substitute in that 15 right in there for x. Just type in 15, hit execute, and there's your 197. Or you could go to the run menu and just do that arithmetic. I think it was 13 times 15 plus 2. And there's your 197. Now to do this problem by hand, you would have these 2 points. You'd have to use the slope formula where you subtract your y values divided by subtracting your x values to get your slope. So there's a slope of 13. But to answer the third part, you have to get the whole equation, y equals mx plus b. That's your m right there, the 13. So you just can put that, the 13, right in there where the m is. So it's y equals 13x plus b. To get your b, your y-intercept, which the calculator got for you automatically, just like it got the slope for you automatically, but to get the b by hand, you have to not only substitute in the slope, but you have to substitute in one of these points. It doesn't matter which one you use, whether it's 8, 106, or whether you use the 10, 132. I just use the 8, 106. Remember, this is the x value right here, this 8, and this is the y value. So I substitute 106 in for y and 8 in for x into this equation right here. And here's what I have. 106 equals 13 times 8 plus b. 13 times 8 is 104. Then I just subtract off the 104, and I get that your b, your value, your y-intercept, is 2. So that's how, if you did it by hand, you would get that equation. But again, the calculator does that for you right in the stat menu. And in case you missed that, here it is again. You go to the stat menu, you put your x values here, your y values here, then you do graph, graph 1, calculate right there. And then click the X and you get it right there. And I don't think it copies it to the run menu, but it does copy it to the graph and table menu. But you can see in the run menu it doesn't copy it. So you'd have to just type in and do your arithmetic there, or use the table menu to do that. So you see a lot of problems like that. The calculator really helps big time. So I'll stop right there.